Hi, I'm Karin,
I'm Kaity.
I'm Anne.
and this is the Strings Unraveled podcast.
Good morning. Welcome to our July episode. How are you guys doing today?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. It's another early morning recording for us, but
I apologize if you guys hear chainsaws in the background. I guess my neighbor is trimming that tree today. We have oak trees that have a disease, but because they're protected species, you can only you cannot trim them except in a certain season. And then we've passed there are certain seasons where they are in their growth period, and if you cut it, the blight will take it over. So we've just passed that season, and apparently it is now
everybody
tree
is
trimming day.
trimming their trees.
Yeah, we have one that we probably need to address, but at $400 per tree, regardless of the size, I was like, yeah. At least we only have one. Our neighbor had 3, so
that's a lot.
And you can only go through certain people that the city has approved. Because they're a protected species, they have to be done a certain way. But they're beautiful, and it's worth saving. So anyway,
all right. Well, I guess we could just jump right in this morning if we want to. If somebody has something that they want to start with.
Oh, why don't you start, Kaity?
Okay.
What are you working on?
What am I working on? I have one knitting project and one quilting project to talk about. My knitting Mojo is still, I don't know, somewhere else. I don't know where it went. It left. So I haven't really been knitting too much, but I have been doing a lot of sewing. And my grandma gifted my mom and I just a giant box of fabric that she wasn't going to use. And so I found in there a jelly roll of these kind of like beachy themed batiks, which batiks are not necessarily my favorite.
I love batiks. I love batiks.
They are, it's like, I think the collection was called like Sand and Sea or something. So they're these kind of like beachy, sandy, like watery colors, lots of browns and blues and stuff. And I'm making that for James's aunt as a little gift for her, because she's nice enough to host us while we take over her house once a week to play Dungeons and Dragons at her house. And so I'm making, this pattern is called Maggie Pearl by Penelope Handmade. It's a very simple, like 2.5-inch squares, like you strip piece and you make these kind of like checkered blocks.
I think I've seen that on Pinterest at some point, like as a cool jelly roll cup.
Yeah, it was like a free pattern for like one jelly roll or a fat quarter bundle or whatever. So it's very pre-cut friendly. But I have all of my squares. Well, no, I have. Reaching. I had all of the pieces strip pieced, and I am just getting into the assembly of the blocks. So I've got a big stack of little strip pieced pieces that I need to put together, and then that'll go together pretty quickly. So that I'm making for her. And I've been doing lots of other sewing because that's just what's exciting at the moment. So that's what I'm doing. But I am knitting a Fair Isle project. So I'm making a hat. And it is
I see a sword.
Yes, there's a sword at the bottom. And these are just the beginnings of dragons.
Cool.
So this is the chart that I put together. This is not a pattern I found. I made it.
Oh, nice.
So we've got swords. What was that?
Did you make up the chart?
I kind of took a Fair Isle hat pattern and deleted all the pictures from it and just used the size and the shape of the chart and the decreases and stuff, and then plugged in my own drawings. So I made
fabulous.
Some of them are like, this was from the dragons were from another pattern that I already owned that I plugged in, but there was a lot of adjusting to be done. And I'm making this for no particular person or no particular reason other than it's fun, and I'm hoping that it makes me feel like knitting again. So I started this, I think, on Sunday, and today is Tuesday.
Oh, that's
so I've been doing
good.
a fair bit of knitting, which makes me happy. So
I like your theme. What would you call that theme?
maybe it's like fantasy because there's a wizard hat and there's dragons and there's swords, and I wanted to test out this yarn that we recently got in at Super Buzzy, and I just thought that sounded fun to do. So the yarn is, it's called Ito Ito, and it is these little, I think they're like 20 grams. Yeah, 20-gram fingering weight skeins of yarn, and we got them in like 50 different colors. So there's just like
Wow.
a ton of these little guys.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so it's like awesome for playing around with color work and stuff like that. So I picked out some colors of that. And then I was thinking, like, I've been daydreaming as I'm knitting this about like using this same idea and just plugging in different themes, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just having a little fun with some Fair Isle and doing a little, I was going to say 2-color knitting, but at some points there are 3 colors, but I did that to myself. So I can't complain about wrangling 3 colors at once, even though I'm usually the person that is going to complain about that. But well, it had to be done.
Well, you should write the designer.
Okay, got it. I'll send her my complaints.
I will. Is it so? It's in the wizard hat in the buckle, and then is it in the little creature at the top? Your 3-color
Yeah,
spot.
it's the swords because they're
Okay.
at an angle, so like the blade and the handle, and then
Oh yeah, no helping
the buckle. I think I might duplicate stitch because it's
Duplicate.
one stitch in one
Yeah.
row, and then my little
Yeah.
monster at the top, his eyes and his little tentacles and stuff, they have some yellow in them, so those are
I
3
see
color.
that tentacle, the yellow at the
Yeah.
ends. Because I was gonna say definitely on the wizard's hats, just duplicate stitch it.
Yeah, that I definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I might also just, it's one round, I might just do it regular and then I won't have to duplicate stitch. I don't know. I'll make that decision when I get there. I'll see how I'm feeling.
Right on. Be mood driven.
Yep. This hat is just for fun, so that's all I'm working on.
You're the
And what
only
are you
one
working
who
on?
agrees with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I am pretty focused on my stowaway pullover. So I showed you the sleeves and the pouch last time, and I have my sleeves fully finished, and I've got the body well on its way.
That's a pretty color.
I just joined in the round. This is Kelborn Woolen's
I love that color.
Yeah, it's looking a
Beautiful.
little more intense on the screen than it is in life. I wish it was the color I'm seeing on the screen.
It's a very Anne color.
Right, I'm very happy with it. Like for me, this is a neutral. It goes with the, kind of goes with what I'm in person. This goes a lot better with the dress I'm wearing than it shows on the screen. So it's like
You said it was
one
called
I think on the
Sage?
screen it looks great. So
Yeah. It's called Sage. It's a very pretty color. It is a very me color.
It does not look sage on the camera, but I believe you.
So now my 2 sleeves are finished and matched.
Ooh, look at that. Look how fun that is.
Oh, those are gorgeous.
I am
I love it.
Can we have a moment for my beautiful tubular bind off? Look at that. Look at it stretch. It's so lovely.
Beautiful. So
It is
clean.
one of the most satisfying things is a tubular bind off that goes well.
I tend to not want to do a sewn bind off. I tend to go for Jenny's friendly stretchy bind off. But this one is very worth it. And the collar can be picked up and bound off, so I can definitely make the collar match. And I think I'm still going to do it on the bottom as well because I can work with shorter ends because this is split spliceable yarn.
I was going to say that's the problem is that it's such a pain in the butt when you have to bind off like 300 stitches.
Yeah.
But that's smart.
You don't want to add more ends
when
you're in finishing mode. So at some point I have to trick myself into turning these sleeves inside out and weaving in all the ends, which I think will happen soon. We had a long car ride yesterday and I thought I might do it yesterday, but that was not true. I thought it and did not do it. So that's the main thing that I am working on. I also my family's been in and out of town a ton this month, and so I also have not been doing a lot of knitting because travel, and then I was the main one taking care of the dogs. Also just tired.
Yep.
But I went to make myself dinner one of the nights. It was just me home, and there were 0 pot holders. Not a single pot holder. And I have crocheted pot holders for my house. Mirabella weaves the loom ones, and not a one. They're all probably like under someone's bed or behind the couch or something. I'm sure they're in the house. So then I was like, oh, I need pot holders. And I was looking at Ravelry, and there's all kinds of cute pot holders. And I was thinking, but I need like a pot holder now. So really, you should go to the dollar store and buy some pot holders. So that is what I did. But when I was at the dollar store, I got some cotton because they have some surprisingly good Premier yarn. And I'm working on this pot holder. It's called the Sunburst pot holder from Pro Soho. And you do a series of 9 sets of stripes in short rows, and then it looks kind of like a little beach ball. And you do a 3 needle bind off and turn it right side, and then you have a really cute pot holder.
Cute. That's fun.
Then I went across the street to, I think I needed a needle or something, to Fabric Town, and they had this one ball of Verano, is the Malabrigo cotton.
Oh, it's pretty.
And these like cool primary color stripes, so it's, or not stripes, speckles that are red, navy, and yellow on a white background. And there was one ball on their sale, or one hank on their sale bin.
Nice.
So I got matching Lily and Cream to do the spirals, or not spirals, stripes.
That's cool.
Very cute.
I love it.
Yeah. So
That's
pot
fun.
holders and my sweater are what I am working on. What are you working on, Karin?
I've been kind of, for the most part, mono. I've been focused on one thing. So right now I am doing, this is one of only 3 insets left to do on my Grace capelet. Look how pretty. Okay, so let me show you where so what I'm working on is this this section right here.
Okay, which is the bottom section?
That's it. Well, see how like there's a hole here? So I'm filling in the hole.
And so those are holes between the second to last tier and the last tier, right?
Yep. So this is this colorful round of flowers is round 6, and then the single color flowers is round 7, and that's the final round. So where that round is, there's a big gaping hole. So there's these eyeball shaped insets that I'm doing. There's 16, of course, of everything. So I'm down to the last 2. I thought I was down to the last 3. Amen. I'm down to the last 2.
Exciting.
And then there's 4 rounds of trim that will fill in the spaces at the bottom of these big flowers. And also it has baubles and other frillies that come out the bottom. And I was kind of worried that it would not fit, but it does. It's going to fit. Lovely. See.
So just
been working on that a long time.
About a couple months, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've actually stayed pretty true to it. I took a brief break to work on have Yumiko Alexander, the designer? She has Dando is her company, and she has a whole line of yarn and patterns. And so I've got 2, maybe 3 of her projects going. So I have this one. Sorry for the Velcro sound. This one is, let me see if I've got a picture of it. I usually don't print out the picture. Only this one little part, and I'm very, very, very careful with it. So what I'll do is I fold it backwards And this is where most of the knitting is still in the plastic. So I try to, yeah, because sometimes I wasn't as careful, and it's like you have to carefully peel it off so it doesn't. So this thing does not have a name. Oh, what is the name of this one? Woven Shadows. I didn't print out the. Oh, here's the picture. I don't know if you can really see it here.
Oh, that's pretty.
Cute.
So it's two big rectangles. I have it in this plum color because I seem to really love her plum color. And I'm working on. It's done side to side.
Uh-huh.
So, and it looks really shallow right now, but it really blocks big. And this particular one is called Linen, is the name of her yarn. And it is a linen cotton blend. Is it linen cotton blend? Let me just actually look at the label before I start lying. It is 100% linen.
Hey, there you go.
It's been really warm, so I want something. I want to be able to wear camisoles and tank tops, but I don't really feel comfortable. So I want something I can throw over those, so I can still have. So, and I love linen. I will say, sometimes when you work with linen, it's hard on your hands. It's not particularly comfortable. This is linen with a chainette construction, so it's actually quite nice on your hands. And it works up beautifully. It's very comfortable. So I've got one piece almost done on that, and it's done on eights. So here's my problem: is I have several of her patterns in the process, but they all take size 8.
Oh, yeah. Just
So
happened to all be the same size?
yeah, she's got a couple things with the linen. Sorry about the foldy plasticky sound. Oh, don't want to lose this. Put that away later. The other thing I'm starting, I've got it wound up. I'm about to start it. Is she has, oh, here's the other thing. I do have, okay, so I do have 3 things. I was looking for this, which is, this came out years ago, and here's the pattern. So, okay. This is the second one I have of, she came out with this back when we were at Anacapa, and I fell in love with it, but I never did it. But someone else that I was talking to ended up doing it. This is called Forest Weave.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's also done side to side. She has a lot of side to side patterns, but with the drop, so you do a drop stitch. I haven't done a pattern with a drop stitch for a while, so that sounded exciting. And this is in, so she lives in Arizona, so a lot of her yarn is suitable for hot weather. So this is called the Silk Plus, and it's 76% silk, 24% cotton. So it's a silk cotton blend. And I don't know if you can see this color. It's a very
Lovely.
mild, denim-y, bluey kind
of pretty
color. It looks, and I've done one section where I was able to drop the stitch. It doesn't really show as much here. I'm about to get to the next section. I know I sound like I only work on one project, but most of the time I worked on the crochet project. These other projects don't take that long, but here's a third one. This is called Reflection, and I've got things wound. I've got one thing wound ready to go, because once the capelet's done, then I can pick up a third, this project. And
okay, you finally pulled one that I want to make. That's one of hers that I am looking forward to making. That one's gorgeous.
I love this one. This Reflection that just came out. It's a new one that just came out. The yarn is Cotton Air, and it is really, really light. So, I mean, here's the it's
It looks
almost
like lace weight.
It is a lace weight because you're going to hold it double.
Mm.
And that's how she makes those all those different colors. Like, you'll have 2 of this color, 2 of this beautiful grassy green color, and then 1 of each.
Very pretty.
So those were the
green
color choices.
Gorgeous.
I fell in love with this green.
Yeah,
She's calling it blue, purple, and fern, which is very, very close. and they didn't have that combo, but I thought, well, I don't know if I want to go dark because I already
Mm-hmm.
have a dark cottony sweater. So this one with the white, I thought it's just
That'll
and
be
is
pretty.
just as pretty. So I'm surprised that the camera is actually reflecting the actual color. That's
Mm-hmm.
how.
Gorgeous.
So,
It's a very grass
so
green.
it's very grass green. I do have a different one. Let's see, what am I working on? Oh, what the purple project is a repurposed project. One where I got it to do a different project, but I thought, you know what, I don't want to do that other one. I've lost interest in it, so I'm gonna I had the yarn. I'm gonna repurpose, and do something else with the yarn. So 3 Dando projects, and one of the Glory Capelet is by Sue Maton. I don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
pronounce her name, Maton. So those would be what I'm working on. I haven't actually started Reflections, but it's ready to go.
Yeah,
I like how you
beautiful.
started this segment with that you were being monogamous, and then you pulled out like 4 different projects.
These are the other boys I'm just texting.
Well, I haven't.
I mean, I
The
don't
reason
judge,
why
Karin, but
I feel monogamous because I haven't talked to those other projects for about a week and a half. So
got it.
I've been,
I mean,
I started them, but then I set them aside because I want to be able to wear this,
yeah.
this other capelet. So anyway, that's what I'm working on.
Right. All right. Well, I guess then it's what have you finished time, right?
Yep. What have you finished, Katie?
Wow. A lot of things I made I gave away recently. So let me pull up my list I wrote down. I'm gonna see if I can do the share screen thing so that I don't just have to hold up my phone. We'll see if that works. Like I said, I've been sewing, so I just let myself kind of play around with stuff that I have been ignoring the things that I have to make and just playing around with stash and things that I have. And so I have a couple projects. The first one was Ruby Star released recently, or probably like a year ago at this point. They had a panel that was called 10 Years of Magic, and it just features all these little squares that you could fussy cut of all their different little designs. And so I bought one and I let myself cut into it, and I
it's fun
together all of these little pieces, and I turned it into this little crossbody bag. So it's a little like fanny pack bag, but we got a little tiger, this little cat. It says Fabric Nerd. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little raccoon, there's an egg, there's a ball of yarn. So I just played around with patchwork for that and made a little panel and then turned it into a little zipper.
That's awesome.
What do you call this thing? Like a crossbody bag. The pattern is by Center Street Quilts. It's called Alpen, Alpen, not Alpine, because I kept getting that wrong. But I've made like 3 or 4 of these. It's a fun little project. So that is done. That was just for fun. All of my projects are just for fun recently.
Good. I was just thinking about like what do you
What was that?
When you said what do you have to sew? Like what are your chore sewing things?
Well, I don't have like I want to finish that quilt for James's aunt, and then I think I talked about on the last episode I'm making those quilts for my friends that bought all the fabric for. I have not started those.
Right on.
They're sitting there like, you should work on me, and I'm like, I'm gonna work on something else. They'll be fun when I start it. I just have to make myself feel like doing it.
Yeah.
The next
you said you said the pattern was by Center Street Quilts?
Yes.
Cool.
It's called Alpen, Alpen.
Yep.
She has another crossbody bag too that she released recently that's a little bit bigger with like more, I don't know, pockets or something that I don't own that pattern yet, but I want to try that one too. The next 3 projects I'm going to talk about are the story of one fabric. So we got this Japanese print from Super Buzzy that came in, and I had to buy a yard of it. So this is what I made with my 1 yard. So I made a tote bag first because I just wanted a plain tote bag. But this is,
Oh, wow.
the fabric has these little kitty cats on it, and the cat is wearing like a little bonnet. So like he's wearing a little hat, and then
So
it's like
cute.
him and his friend, and then they're like at a picnic.
Aww.
And then I don't know if you're gonna be able to see him. Where is he? There's this one cat on here. Oh, here's one, and he's like, it's just a little cat face and a lemon.
Yes,
And I just it was so cute. So I just made a basic tote bag out of it. It's like a lightweight canvas. So that was first, and then with the leftovers of that, I made a Holland pouch for myself. So this is the small size Holland pouch, again by Center Street Quilts. I've made a million of these bags, but there's the little cats in their little hats, and there's a little lemon guy over there. And then I use this like yellow and white stripe for my accent, and this is just holding like post-it notes and a bunch of washi tape and stuff like that. So that's all in there. And then this fabric was like such a hit that it sold out really quick at Super Buzzy because she had put it on her like Instagram when it came in, and then
I
it's
felt
gone.
like I had seen it. Yeah.
And my boss Kelly was sad that she did not get any. Like it sold out before she was able to get some. So then I took leftovers of that. I put together a little zipper pouch. I didn't have a ton left, so what I had, I just kind of like pieced together with some other little bits and pieces, and was able to just make like a little flat zipper pouch with some of the leftovers that just featured the little kitty cats. And then the lemon cat was the best part. So he's like a little patch on the inside there. I'll post pictures of this so that you can see it on our Instagram. But it was very fun. And I have like a box of like vintage zippers that I buy at like thrift stores and stuff, and I can never find like when I need a zipper, I always check there first, and then they never end up being the right size. But that one was, so I got to use one of my old
your vintage ones,
thrifted zippers. Yeah.
Nice.
And then it was my niece's birthday this month. She has the perfect birthday because it's June 25th, so it's exactly 6 months from Christmas. And I made her, she's very into like art and drawing. I asked my brother, I was like, what does Amryn want for her birthday? What is she into right now? Because I like to encourage her like crafty, like creative side. And he said that he sent me a link to like her Amazon wish list, and the girl wanted like drafting supplies. Like she's got like protractors and pencils and like all of these like she's really into like I think she has a book that's about like drawing. I can't remember, but whatever. I was like, okay, I could buy her that stuff. So I went and I bought her like some drawing stuff, like pencils and stuff, and then I made a pouch to put it all in. And
that's cool.
The fabric is, let me see if I could zoom in, but it's very cute. It's like little animals at a picnic, and like they're having like strawberries. He's got little balloons. It's very like kawaii, cutesy. And she loved it, so that was fun. That was very fun to put together.
Cute.
It was so cute. So a couple Holland pouches, the cat bags, a fanny pack. Oh, and then I knitted a sample for work of a baby hat because we got this yarn in that's got these little pom-poms on it. So it's just a very simple little baby hat with these little pom-pommies that come up in the yarn. Cool. So yeah, that took me, not very long.
An evening, half an hour.
Yep, something like that. So lots of sewing projects just for fun, and then I also like I've got a bunch of stash of just stuff, and then my grandma giving me this like big box of fabric was like not really great for my sewing focus because now I just want to play with new things that I have. So that's what I've been doing.
That's fun.
I've been irresponsible with my crafting time, but that's okay.
I believe they call that a windfall. The box of fabric.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Anne, what have you finished lately?
2 pot holders.
Yay.
So these are the sunburst pot holders finished. And the yarn is whatever the premier cotton you can get at the Dollar Tree, and Lillian Cream white. And I think it looks so cute and crisp. And I got it just in the 2 colors they had available, which was a mossy green and a bright turquoise.
Very pretty.
And I don't know how quickly they're going to restock this because the shelves at the Dollar Tree look pretty empty lately.
I was at the Dollar Tree by the studio yesterday, and I wandered through the yarn aisle, and they had a pretty decent amount.
Did they? Because I went. This was so we're like a week off of each other of looking. Last week, it was very empty, and the one over on Main Street was not empty, but like not much yarn. And then we were up in Big Bear, and that one was like empty shelves, literally.
Oh, weird. No, the one by the studio was. I didn't notice anything weird. It was pretty well stocked, I felt.
Yeah, it would. You know, that one wasn't poorly stocked. I just missed any yarn. So I'll have to check it out again.
Yeah. How was Big Bear?
Those are the Sunburst pot holders from Pearl Soho. Free pattern. Super fun. I don't always think that knitted pot holders are the best choice. Like I think cotton or crocheted ones tend to have a little more options. But this one is very fun and very easy. The pattern's easy to memorize. The techniques are pretty easy. I feel very clever because you start it with a crocheted provisional cast on, but instead I'm doing Judy's Magic cast on onto the tubes.
Smart.
The knitting tubes, and then I can just slide my needle right in to do the 3 needle bind off. And
that's very tricky.
Will have a group of these, and they'll probably all disappear into the nooks and crannies of my house also at some point. But I'll have pot holders again.
I'm frozen.
Yeah, so
are they double layered? Like, is it 2 layers?
Yeah. So
you're knitting like a ball shape and then smash it flat.
Yep.
Cute.
So here it is unsmashed, and then
got it.
It flattens out. There's a ton of people have made this, and if you do it in red and like a Christmas green, they look like starlight mints. So cute.
Little peppermints.
So are
That's
those like
sweet.
really good for hot temperatures? Because I probably could use one of those this week.
Yeah, Karin.
Okay, I didn't put my hand in. I was using a utensil, but I wasn't thinking about the door.
Tell the listeners what you did.
Okay, so I was making pizza in my outdoor oven, and I learned a valuable lesson.
You need the long gloves that cover your arms.
I know my husband insists that I need to get those, and realizing that I have a second, possibly 3rd-degree burn on my arm because perhaps that's right. I mean, it did go through multiple layers of
I think it's
skin.
still 2nd degree looking at it though. It's gnarly though.
Well, the rest of the blister kind of peeled off. It kind of came off because it was dead and sloughed its own self off. And
what did
underneath
you do?
is like, okay, well, I'm making pizza in my outdoor oven, and I pre-cooked the dough first, but now I'm putting the topped pizzas back in to do their melty, beautiful pizza stuff, and it was incredibly delicious. But I put those little tiny balls of mozzarella on there, and they roll sometimes off the pizza and into the oven part. And I didn't want to have to make it to melt and be this burny, horrible mess later. So I was taking my long utensil to try to swoop it back onto the pizza and off the base of the oven. And my hand hit the door. So it's
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you have some kind of like new skin covering on it or something.
So this is awesome stuff. This hydrocolloid patches. They're clear and they're super. They'll help keep reduce scarring. I've got a combination of Manuka honey on there to help heal it, help with the healing. And I did have to cut this down because they are like 4x4, and the first one was huge. But I didn't see that I had this at first because I'm like, I felt it right away. I felt the first burn. This was the second burn. The first one was tiny. And I was and you think I would have learned, but clearly, but I felt it. And in between pizzas, I went and I just got a regular bandage to put over it. I didn't see that. I didn't see it till the next day. And then when I peeked under the bandage and it ripped some of the top of the blister off, then I was like horrified. But also I shouldn't have been picking at that when I was, you know, away from home. But so then when I got home, I had some of these hydrocolloid bandages, and what they do is the PU, it's got like a PU fiber material that protects so that bacteria and other stuff doesn't get into it, but it also has a gel that helps with healing, and it also absorbs whatever the wound is exuding as it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
I
fantastic.
changed it about 3 or 4 times a day, and it's better than gauze because gauze will stick to it. This does not stick to the wound. It sticks to my skin, but not to the wound at all. So
That's
the wound is
amazing.
able to clear. So this is clear. You can see it looks ugly right now, but later this afternoon, this will look like it's all white, and because it will have absorbed some of the stuff that. So it allows it to do it doesn't lock those fluids in, which could be bad. It's pretty good. So it's
I
healing
have
really
those.
nicely. This is huh?
I have those in
It's
like a
not bad
very
for
mini version for like spot treatment they make,
That's what
and
I
it
would
does the
say. It
same
sounds
thing.
exactly
yeah.
like the acne
Yeah,
spot stuff.
it's exactly the same,
Yeah.
just big.
They do. Yeah, those are real. Those are. It is basically the same stuff, but in a bigger patch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's handy to have on hand. You never know when's. I wish now, like if you had a really bad sunburn. There's one time when my eldest, when he was still in high school, and he for a summer job he worked at Magic Mountain, and he wore shorts, and he is very very pale, and he didn't even though he was in under shade, his legs were not. In the back of his legs blistered so badly that his sheets stuck to them.
Ugh.
But anyway, yeah. So I wish that they had this kind of stuff around back then, because we did gauze, and that's just then you got to soak it. So wound treatment, you know, and I am also looking at the longer gloves. But I mean, because
That would be good.
I would like to say that I've learned from this, but I know me. I'm going to see something and I'm going to want to fix it and not think about the consequences. So, but so a couple of the one thing I finished 2 things, but they're sort of connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So for Father's Day / birthday, my husband's birthday is like a week away from Father's Day, and this year we did one big thing that was for both, and he was fine with that. He was not missing out on a gift because it was a really really big gift. We got him a 3-in-1 barbecue smoker grill. But the thing is, the house, anywhere you put it around the house, outside the house, is going to be really sloped. So I had to build a platform, which was this.
That looks great.
Yeah, it's really heavy duty. Those are 2-inch thick by plus it's got joists underneath, and those are cement boards because we get a lot of rain and drainage, and it needs to be able to drain away from the house, but also under the thing. Unfortunately, so that was what it looked like Father's Day, and that was just enough room for the grill. And you can imagine how low that's about 8 inches off the ground to make it level. The back part of it is level, but the front that's the slope. So when he's trying to barbecue and he's standing that much lower, it wasn't particularly good or safe. So instead, for that was at Father's Day. So for his birthday, I built another one and to extend it out. I'll get a better picture, but you can see he's used it. So you can see, so the original one stopped back here, and then this one is extended out.
Nice. So a little grilling deck.
A little grilling deck. We didn't want to do anything that would be kind of permanent. We need it to be portable and removable because eventually we do want to build out a deck, but that's down the line. And in the meantime, he wants to grill now and not wait.
Mm-hmm.
To do something like that, because of the HOAs, we would need to have someone come up and draw up a plan, because our yard is part of the neighborhood drainage. Some of the houses behind us, they drain through our yard away from our house, but we cannot build anything that would inhibit that. So we have to get someone to make up a plan that would allow for that. Well, and then we have to take that to the city to get a permit. But and after that, we have to take it to the HOA to get approved. So that's not a today problem. In the meantime, we've got this grilling solution that is not
Nice.
that doesn't. So that's the one thing I completed. It was a big thing though.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a good project.
I mean, I cut the wood, I drilled it, got a new power drill. Yay, new tools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found that I love working with wood almost as much as yarn.
That's awesome. It is fun.
It is fun. I did not have a power saw. I had to do that by hand. The first deck, it was all done by hand, and I made lines and used a chisel to cut a groove so that my hand saw from the days when we had Boy Scouts would actually cut straight. And then I realized that when I went back to Home Depot to get more materials to build the second part, I realized the first 3 cuts are free, and after that it's like 50 cents. And actually they didn't charge me.
Oh no.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have them cut it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I was also sitting here thinking like a saw is not that expensive.
No.
Like a circular saw, a chop saw. Treat yourself to a table saw if you're really loving it. It is a chunk of change, but it's not that expensive. But
it's not that bad.
Yeah. But if they're gonna cut it for free for simple dimensions, do that. Yeah.
But also, I'm trying to get this stuff home in my Mini Cooper.
Well, yeah.
So I have a 6-foot maximum that I can squeeze. I probably could get 8 feet if I could put one of the front seats down, because you can't put a lot. Okay, I was taking the stuff. I had the big load of all my materials on one of their their flat carts, and this guy in his big truck goes, "Are you going to be able to fit all that in the back of your car?" I go,
"Oh,
watch
thank
me.
you for your helpful question,
Oh, yeah.
sir."
Well, no, he wasn't trying to be misogynist. He just saw my little car and a lot of materials. Like, remember those cement blocks? I had 4 of those cement blocks, and they were freaking heavy.
Were you dragging?
No, I have a wheelbarrow, so I just put it in the wheelbarrow. But
I
still have
your car dragging
the back of your car.
No, it's actually pretty well because I spaced some of it out. I put the back seat down. I kind of spaced them out a little bit, but well, because the back of the Mini it can carry a lot.
Right. I had an art teacher who said that he can move everything for art shows in his like classic Mini Cooper. So I've always understood that they are pretty good little hauling machines, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm impressed that you can get that kind of length in there, though.
Diagonally. Diagonally, and you put it upright, not flat. So you can squeeze a lot more diagonally this way and kind of build it up like this. It was yeah. I mean, last year when I was building the platform for the garbage bins, and I was bringing back the 100-pound slabs of limestone, now that one I had to do in trips because the Mini can only take so many hundreds of pounds. And then trying to get them out with, it wasn't just the slabs, but also the buckets and buckets of gravel are very heavy. But I sweat. I'm like, if last week when I was installing, I build that top, and then trying to get it level takes a lot, right? Having to build, because under those bricks, I've got more bricks and more cement to help the front be higher. So trying to level it, it was hot. I was sweating, and then it rained, and it was glorious. And my husband was like, "Don't you want to take a break?" I'm like, "No, I finally feel really good. Let the rain keep coming down." So anyway, that was it. I built couple platforms.
Very
Cool.
nice.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Did not
Okie
have a
dokie.
pattern, had to make it up myself.
Well, you're good at that.
Yeah. So
I guess we could do, what are you excited about? What are you obsessed with? I can go first. Sorry, give me 1 sec. I gotta pull something up. So I was scrolling on Instagram, and I see a lot of like the cute, like novelty hair claw clips where they're shaped like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like cheese or like, all kinds of funny things. But I follow who is this by? Sarah Hartz on Instagram. So I bought this hair clip that looks like a sewing machine. Because I was like,
so
I could wear.
cool.
I was like, I could wear this to work, and it's like a cute little sewing machine, right? And so I bought it, and I have been wearing it, and I showed it to my boss, and I was like, you should buy these because you can wholesale them. So I almost bought. I'm still going to. I just haven't done it yet. We got a couple other ones at work, but so novelty hair claw clips are going to be the thing that I'm excited about. But the other one we have are these like ball of yarn and knitting needles. Like I need to own that, right?
Oh, I love
It's very
it.
cute. And now my hair is long
Those are
enough
cool.
to put up into some sort of,
So wait, that's a
updo.
claw clip?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah,
do you spell her
so
name?
So
This
this
her
one's by
website?
Sarah Hartz. But then the other ones that I've seen are from the Peach Fuzz is another place that makes a
I
whole
follow
bunch.
her.
Yep. And there's one other, Feral Notions. She makes them too. So there's lots of different ones, and not just like knitting, sewing, crafty related, but like anything you can imagine, they've probably made a hair
That's
claw clip
fun.
out of. So novelty claw clips, that is the thing that I am excited about, and I have been wearing my sewing
That
machine
is so cute.
pretty often. And I think it's kind of like subtle-ish, so that, like, if you weren't a knitter or a sewer, you'd be like, that's a weird shaped claw clip, but for those who know,
But
there's
if
my
you
little
know,
sewing
you
machine.
know. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the thing.
I really like those. I've been following Peach Fuzz for a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
it makes me very nervous because claw
Yes.
clips get ruined at my house.
Yeah, you got to be careful with them.
If you have people in your life who think it's fun to just click them together, open, close, open, close,
Yep.
open, close, then your claw clips are in danger.
Yes. They're also like heat moldable, right? Like the acetate that these are made out of. So I had one that I loved. It was smaller. This was back when my hair was longer the first time. And it was like the perfect claw clip. I bought it at this like vintage store. And I kept it in my car, and I kept it like clamped around the like gear shift.
Yeah.
Because then I would like take it and I would put it on and I would, use it, and that's where it lived.
Yeah.
But then one day I took it off and it was stuck in that shape. It had like molded because it was really hot one day in my car. So you got to be careful where you leave them too, because they will turn into other shapes in the heat, because that's what that material does. So
like sometimes you hear people say like ubiquitous things you just do in your life and don't think about the consequences. It's just like a normal thing you would do. One time I saw this ER nurse on
yes,
probably on Reels, and she was like, I can't even tell you the horrifying things I've seen claw clips do to patients who've been in car accidents.
Never wear your claw clip while you're driving or in the car. Take it out of your hair and you're in the car.
So
yes.
I try
had no
really
idea.
hard. Or I don't, if I do put it up in the car, I like put it way up on my head.
Not against the back of your seat rest.
What they're talking about is like you're in a concussive accident and it bangs around into your skull. So I'll put it on the top if I'm really desperate.
That's my PSA.
So
don't wear a claw clip in the car.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm obsessed with two things. Both are coming from Instagram. Good sewing tips. And last night, actually, because you get shown all these all the time, the little clip of someone sewing something. This is by Notches Sewing, NOTCHES_sewing. And this content maker showed that you shouldn't back stitch. So when you're doing a boxed corner and you're sewing down the side, say like your tote bag you just made, right? So you're sewing down the side of the tote bag, and you, instead of back stitching there, do almost like a chain stitching technique. Bring the other, so you have your little L shape of the box cut out. Bring this one over and just continue sewing the bottom. So then they're perfectly lined up when you go to open that to box the corner. So you have a perfectly connected, no need for like, because back stitching can bunch your fabric up and add bulk. I mean, it's all subtle, not big deal stuff, but it's just this much more efficient to not do it that way.
Smart.
So here
a lot of times I'll just like pull it over, but that's smart.
So she stops like a couple stitches from the end, and then she bends the next side that needs to be sewn into it.
Yeah. And then it's just sitting right there.
And then
that's
the most magical part though is when she opens it to flatten out that bottom.
You don't have to clip it.
You don't clip it. You just open it.
That's awesome.
It's like so simple, but very cool, efficient. So Not Just Sewing was an account I just discovered. There was another lady who I really liked recently too. Her screen name is Kaity.teacher, Keti.teacher, and she's like a garment seamstress who must also teach people how, just getting the feel for her account. It looks like she brings people in and helps them learn how to do slopers and customize garments to themselves. And she just has all these kind of really cool garment construction finesses that they're things that I'm always working towards to being a better technician in my sewing, because I like to do things fast and dirty. Like that first thing, that's almost a fast and dirty kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even
that's
though
like it almost cheating.
Yeah. Even though
but it's
it actually
smarter, not harder situation.
And
right?
It also, I think it would add precision, because everything's more wisely lined up. This lady has precision and smart ways to do stuff. And then the other thing I'm obsessed with is, and I kind of started to play with it, but it's just in its fledgling, is making friendship bracelets.
That's always fun.
Because it's like 'tis the season. Summertime is a good season for a craft like that. Everyone was gone and I wanted something novel. So
that's fun.
I got a bunch of embroidery floss and been playing around with that. And looking at,
I used to be able to do like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right. I could never do anything fancy, but now I'm trying out the fancy stuff.
I had this whole book that was like, it was one of those Klutz books, and it came with like a little like, it was like extended on the back, so the cardboard stuck out farther from the back, and with a little clip on the side, so you could like do it while you were looking at the book. And I made thousands of friendship bracelets, and I could do all of the fanciest ones, and it was the best. Like I loved that when I was a kid.
It's my time to finally branch out of just the slanting stripes or the whole big one that's just like a column of knots.
Yeah,
those are still classic and have their place.
No, yeah, but there's all kinds of fun stuff. I also did a lot of those like hemp macrame with the bead bracelets and stuff. Those were always fun.
Those are fun. Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
So those are my current obsessions. Karin, what are you obsessed with? Well,
I've been obsessed with looking at it, and the thought of it is also embroidery. I've seen a lot of those Instagram for Clever Poppy, and where she adds like the little hedgehog to her t-shirts. And I'm like, I have some t-shirts that need mending, but I might do a dirty mend under just a quick, not pretty mend, but put a bit of embroidery on top of that.
That's fun.
Fix. So she did. I don't know if you saw that one with a really cute hedgehog. I'm just see if I.
Who is this?
It was just Clever Poppy.
I don't know.
I'm looking at her website. So it's the kind of thing where instead of something this big, but you put something like a smaller version of that little guy to head, like over. Let me see if I can find her on Instagram.
That sounds cute.
Because I love hedgehogs. They're just, what's not to love about an adorable hedgehog? Clever. I gotta be careful how I type this in. If I type it in too fast, it doesn't say poppy or puppy. It has an extra O.
I hope that's about having a healthy one.
There's, or like, look at this one with the bee.
Yeah, I see that.
Cute.
That's so cute.
See, I would love to put that on a t-shirt. So
adorable.
But that sounds very cute.
But see, I think how cute that would be when I'm mending something instead of just putting a pop of embroidery over that hole. And then, it doesn't have to be centered someplace. It could just be this random, wherever the random hole is. And someone would be like, oh, look, you've got something cute there. So,
yeah, I like that. Add a little something cute to something that needs a little help.
Yep.
Fun.
Cool. Awesome.
So,
well,
that is it.
I think that does it for us today, guys. Who picked our next book? Is Karin, right? What book are we reading for our book club this month?
We are reading Never Whistle at Night. It is, let me go grab the cover. It's
we do our regular book club episode once a month. So if you want more from us, you can follow us along. Karin chose our book this month.
It's called Never Whistle at Night. It is an anthology, an indigenous dark fiction anthology. So all of the authors and even if you're listening to it on the audiobook, even the narrators are all indigenous people.
Nice.
And so it's a little on the horror side, but not all of it is that way. I also love that it's an introduction by Stephen Graham Jones, one of my favorite horror fiction authors. But
cool.
So we're reading that one. Yes.
Can I interject? So if you find yourself at Barnes & Noble, Karin, their $5 book this month over by like the cafe is a little tiny like novella by Stephen Graham.
I
cool.
saw that when I was there and I almost picked it up.
Novella by Stephen.
I put a hold at the library for our book like a couple weeks ago, and then just this last week I was like, I want to get started, so I just went and I used an Audible credit to get it, and then the next day it came available at the library. Yep, of course. But yeah, that's what we're reading for our book club this month if you want to join us for that. Also, our Patreon, if you want to join us at patreon.com/stringsunraveled. We have a little sort of mini bonus episode once a month where we just chat about something, whatever. Recently, we've been doing these fun like deep dive questions that Karin has a deck for.
Yeah, delve.
And some of them are a little more... like some of them are fun, some of them are a little bit where we get to rant. So if you want to hear us rant about stuff, we usually do it over there on Patreon. Yeah, and I guess that's it for us tonight, or today, or this morning, or whenever you're listening to it. It's morning for us. We'll talk to you guys next month. Bye.
Bye, everyone.